It is time to have a real and raw chat about postpartum recovery and all the things that come with bringing home a new baby, the healing process, and everything in between. I'm currently 2 weeks postpartum, and I feel like overall this recovery has been so much better than it was with my firstborn. But I really just want to share an update with y'all, and I love hearing stuff like this, especially when I was pregnant the first time. I wanted to know exactly like all the ins and outs of what it was like being postpartum because I was like terrified of that whole process. So I wrote down some notes because I'm definitely gonna forget things. Mom brain is so real right now. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the healing and recovery. And I remember when I was pregnant with my son, I genuinely had no idea what postpartum recovery was supposed to look like, or I really didn't even know that you would bleed for weeks straight. And so after I had my son, I bled for like 4 weeks. I had a 2nd-degree tear that was internal, so it like wasn't too bad dealing with recovery. But overall, like my body just felt so much more tired and weak. And there was just a lot that went into the recovery process. Like I feel like I didn't truly like feel somewhat good in my body until I hit about like 4 to 5 weeks postpartum. This time around, with it being my second baby, I had 0 tearing, which was insane to me, and I'm so grateful for that. So there wasn't necessarily like any pain down there, but I definitely felt kind of sore, and I was using like the ice packs from the hospital, which really helped, and I enjoyed using them because obviously like I still pushed a baby out of my body, so everything has to like get back to normal. In terms of bleeding, it's already lightened up so much. Like there's 3 stages of bleeding, and like the first stage is like super dark red blood. This is like when you might pass blood clots, and you mainly deal with this like when you're in the hospital. And then the second phase is kind of like a period bleeding, so it's kind of more like that middle tone red color. It's not as heavy, but obviously you still have to wear a pad. And then you have like that final phase where it's actually kind of more like a yellowish color with like a little bit of like the light pink blood in it. And I've been in that phase for several days now. So I'm really hoping that like we're about to be done with things, which would be so amazing because I'm tired of feeling like a little granny over here with pads and diapers on. But I will say the downside of that is the contractions were so bad after I had my daughter, because obviously your uterus is like shrinking back down to size, and so you feel all these contractions, and when you breastfeed you really feel them. Like they happen when you're doing that, and this time around it was like so bad. They definitely were more painful and intense, but they went away after a few days. Where with my son, I just almost kind of felt like crampy for several days on end. Nothing ever felt very intense. Overall, my body hasn't felt as sore, but my back on the other hand has been so freaking sore. I don't know what the deal was this time around when I got the epidural. Like I don't think it was placed incorrectly, but it definitely was a lot more uncomfortable and kind of painful getting it inserted. And so my back has been really sore. I've been using the heating pad a lot. I can't remember my back feeling very sore after having my son, but maybe I just like blocked that out of my memory. So all that to say, like I said in the intro, overall in terms of like healing and recovery physically, I feel so much better. And I would say that by like a week and a half postpartum, so like 10 days or so, I truly was like feeling like myself more so physically. The next thing that I want to talk about is self-care. And I feel like self-care during postpartum is so important. And I'm actually going to make a whole separate video on postpartum self-care because it's so vital to prioritize your self-care when you're freshly postpartum so that you can show up as the best version of yourself in a very difficult season. But like I said, I'm really trying to take care of myself and making sure that my basic needs are met, and taking a shower every day, which I know sounds so simple, but I'm somebody, I showered every day anyways before having a baby. But especially like when you're bleeding and sweating and nursing, like all these fluids are coming out of you, it feels so good just to like take a shower, stand under the super hot water, scrub your body down. It just feels so like relaxing. Having me time is the best thing that I can do right now. I'm also really trying to focus on eating better this time around postpartum because with my son, I just basically ate a lot of fast food. A lot of people gave us like DoorDash gift cards, but I know that especially for breastfeeding, it's so good to like give your body the nutrients it needs. So yes, I am eating like some junk food and like the things that are supposed to like help your milk supply, like oatmeal things and cookies and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also trying to focus on bringing in fruits and vegetables and whole foods into my diet as well. Obviously staying hydrated, drinking a lot of water, coconut water, body armor, all the different things. Other things that I'm doing for self-care is like opening up our blinds every day so that I can at least like bring sunlight into the room, or just going outside and just like enjoying the nice air, especially lately in the mornings. It's been like in the 60s and 70s and it feels so good when I go outside. I've been trying to rest. Now sleeping during the day is something that I'm not very good at unless I'm genuinely exhausted, and I don't think I'm quite at that point yet, but I've still been trying to at least just like sit down or lay in bed. But I'm really trying not to be like go and constantly constantly doing things unless I truly feel like my mind like needs me to do something, because I also don't like just like sitting and resting. I'm trying to listen to my body and just give it what it needs and allow myself to rest and relax so that I can recover. And the last thing that I'm doing for self-care is trying not to stay isolated. So I'm trying to spend time with my son and my husband, whether that's me putting Emerson down for a nap or she's with us, and just spending like family time together, talking with them, especially playing with my son and being like one-on-one with him has been so great, because having a baby, I realized like how big my son has gotten and how much older he is. And so getting to spend time with my firstborn feels so special right now. Also, if you hear Emerson in the background, she is a very like loud, active sleeper. I promise that she's not awake. Like she's very much so tells you when she's awake, and she'll cry and say she's ready to eat. She's very, very deep into active sleep right now, just wiggling around and grunting and all the newborn noises. Another thing that I'm trying to focus on this time around postpartum is my mental health, because that was something I just kind of shoved under the rug with my son. I definitely have been dealing with the baby blues, and my emotions have been so like up and down. Like one minute I'm like, this is amazing, I love this, like this feels great, and the next minute I'm like, everything's terrible, I'm a bad mom, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm exhausted. Like it's just like there's really no gray area. It's just extremities right now. And so I'm trying to be like very transparent with my husband about how I'm feeling. And this is something that we talked about before having a baby, like just my mental health and me dealing with like the hormone crash and the baby blues and all that kind of stuff. So even he's been checking in on me, and he's doing really well of like, hey, I noticed like you're not acting like yourself, like what's going on? But nobody's gonna help you if you're not honest with them. And so I'm just trying to be like open and transparent with him, which is hard for me because I'm definitely somebody that likes to just bottle up my emotions and like, I'm gonna get through this. But that's exactly what I did with my son, and I struggled so badly with my mental health. I don't even think I realized how bad it was until I finally decided to get help at 5 months postpartum. And I was deep in with postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, to the point where I was having to go to therapy, and I started an antidepressant, and I just truly like did not feel very well. So I am really trying to stay on top of my mental health, even just trying to be more in tune with my emotions so that I can get help earlier on if I notice that I'm still struggling with the baby blues that have now turned into postpartum depression. Another area that I wanted to touch on is body image. A lot of you may not know this, but before I got pregnant with my daughter, I was on a weight loss journey. When I got pregnant with my son, I weighed 195, 96 pounds, and my heaviest, I was at 226. So I had already lost a little bit of weight before I had my son. Obviously, I got pregnant with him, gained some weight, and then I lost the weight and I started my weight loss journey. And by the time I had my daughter, I weighed 165 pounds, which is literally like the lowest I've weighed since I was in high school. And really for me, being on a weight loss journey, yes, it was about losing the weight and just like feeling good in my body, but it also was really about me being able to physically show up for my family and my children in the ways that I wanted to. I was tired of letting my weight hold me back and keep me feeling tired and choosing to be lazy and choosing to overeat and not fueling my body in ways that it needed to be fueled. And I wanted to give my kids a better example of what it looks like to truly like take care of your body and to love your body, but then also be able to like run around with them and play with them and go on hikes and bike rides and all these things that like I just didn't do because my body used to hold me back. So I got pregnant with my daughter. Obviously, I've gained weight, and I gained so much more weight this pregnancy than I did in my first pregnancy. I weighed 211 pounds by my last OB appointment, which felt crazy to see because there used to be a time where I just weighed that much regardless of if I was pregnant or not. So now after having a baby, it feels so weird to like look at my body and knowing I still weigh more than I did before I got pregnant. But even seeing like now my stomach's all stretched out again, and I'm only 2 weeks postpartum, so there's still a lot of healing my body has to do. Now I've had 2 full-term pregnancies, so I know that I'm not going to look the same way even after having my son. Definitely have already kind of struggled with the way that my body looks, because I feel like when I'm pregnant, it's like I love how my body looks. I'm like, it's growing a baby, it's amazing, like look at this big round belly, like I'm growing life. But then postpartum, it's like everything flips, and it's just kind of weird because it's like this is still the same body that carried that baby, and it looks like this because of the life it produced. And right now my body is still sustaining life by breastfeeding my daughter. I've definitely been on this long journey of learning how to love my body in all the seasons, all the phases, to take care of it well, to listen to my body, and truly just focusing on feeling my best instead of like looking my best. So with that said, eventually once I'm cleared at my 6-week appointment, I do want to get back on like my weight loss journey. But again, like I said, it's not about making my body look a certain way. It's so that I can feel a certain way. So I can feel this freedom and confidence in my own body and knowing that I'm not being physically held back by it anymore. As most of you know, this is my second baby, and so I already have a 2-year-old son, and a lot of people have asked me what it's been like coming home with a new baby, how he's been adjusting, and what life is like now having 2 kids instead of just 1. And honestly, I'll say that my toddler seems to be adjusting pretty well. I don't think he like quite understands the concept of this baby is around for his entire life now and that he's a big brother and this is his little sister. He's not very like interested in her. He'll say hi to her, he'll say bye to her, he'll be like bye bye baby or hi baby. And if she's in the room with him and she's crying or she sneezes or like makes some other noises, he'll like laugh at her. But otherwise he kind of is just doing his own thing. And I think it also has kind of helped that my husband was able to take almost a full 3 weeks off of work, and so he's been the one that's like with him all the time. They have a lot of one-on-one time. They're going to parks and playgrounds and all these different things and just having a blast. So I feel like him having that one-on-one time with my husband has also really helped in this transition. So it doesn't seem like he's like been replaced or he's not getting as much attention as he used to get. The only difference is like it's my husband giving him all this attention now instead of me. Once my husband goes back to work, my mom will be home for a little bit too. She's gonna help take care of Elliot while I'm with our daughter. But then once she goes back to work, so probably like heading into October and it's just me and the 2 kids, I'm very curious to see how he's going to react, if things are going to be different now because he's going to realize like, oh, mom's attention is divided. And even I've noticed this already happening a couple times. He'll fall down or get hurt, and no matter like what happens to him, whether it's major or like a little tiny fall where he's not even injured, he always comes to me for that comfort and for me to hold him or to kiss him. And I've noticed that there's been a couple times where something's happened and he comes to me and he is just kind of staring at me and he notices I'm holding the baby, and it kind of almost makes him more upset, and then my husband is the one that ends up consoling him. I'll try to console him, but I feel like him seeing me hold another baby like when he needs me is kind of affecting him. So definitely just trying to learn how to balance having 2 kids now. Obviously I love them both so much and never want him to feel replaced or like he's not as important to me anymore, but he's also just freshly 2, so it's very hard to like communicate that to him and to have him understand. But we're trying to keep communication open, and I know that he understands a lot more than we think he does. So overall I would say that he's been doing really well, which I'm grateful for, and we're just gonna have to see how things keep going. Another hot topic for postpartum is baby sleep, because you really do not sleep for a long time. We took my daughter to her newborn appointment when she was 5 days old, and at that appointment she already had reached her birth weight, which is amazing, and the doctor was like so shocked that she had already reached that. And so he gave us a green light to just like let her sleep through the night as long as she would before feeding her. And so I was like, cool, that sounds great, I'm definitely gonna do that. And let me tell you, this girl wakes up at least every hour to maybe 3 hours max to eat during the night, which I know that with newborns, especially those first couple weeks, like a lot of them tend to have like their days and nights flipped. It's been something that's been kind of hard, because I distinctly remember with my son, I switched to exclusive pumping, and we literally would have to set alarms throughout the night every 3 to 4 hours to feed him. Like I would have to wake him up and feed him. He almost never woke up in the middle of the night acting hungry until he was like older and actually sleeping through the night. Then he would wake up on his own around 2 or 3 a.m. and want a bottle. And so I'm like barely sleeping at some points, and I honestly do need to do better of like going to bed a bit earlier once I put her down. But sometimes I'm like, I just want to like hang out with my husband one-on-one, or I want to take a shower. The biggest thing I need to start prioritizing is my sleep, which is also a form of self-care, and that's an area that I'm definitely lacking in. During the day, sleep so much, like I have to wake her up during the day to eat. But I'm hoping that things will like start to shift a little bit, especially as she gets a little bit older, and we're really trying to like make daytime loud and bright when she's sleeping, and nighttime like I'm turning on a sound machine and like a soft little nightlight and making the room like pretty dark and stuff. I know it takes a while for things to start working with their circadian rhythms. I just got to give it time, and I'm trying to rest during the day like I said, and I'm just looking forward to like at least one day getting, you know, maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep through the night without being woken up. Another thing I really wanted to talk about in this video is breastfeeding, because I've mentioned a lot in like my short form content that with my son I was an exclusive pumper, and I literally switched to exclusive pumping. I think it was the day my milk supply came in. He kind of struggled with latching anyways in the hospital when I was just just obviously producing colostrum, and we ended up like even having to manually pump and express, and I would like feed him either in a bottle or off my finger the colostrum. Once my milk supply came in and I was like super engorged, like he just would not latch. Even when I would try to like pump a little bit and like make my breasts a little bit softer, he still like just would not latch. And I just immediately jumped into pumping because I was like, I need to feed my baby. Like he's going to starve if I do not feed him right now. So I started pumping and I just literally never looked back, and it was not a very good experience for me. And then with my mental health, and I went back to work full time, I just really struggled with my supply. I wasn't pumping enough, I wasn't eating enough, I wasn't taking care of myself enough, so my supply tanked so badly. By the time he was almost 5 months old, we already had to start supplementing with formula, and then I think he was around like 9 or so months old is when we decided to fully switch to formula, because at that point I just was not producing enough. I think I was pumping less than 10 ounces a day, and it was just putting so much mental strain on me to keep pumping all the time when I wasn't producing enough that I was like, I'm just going to switch to formula, which was the best decision I could have made. But I really mourned the fact that I didn't get to experience a breastfeeding journey. And so this time around, I was like, we are going to exclusively breastfeed. I'd done all the research. I really understood a lot more about breastfeeding and milk supply and pumping. And a lot of it I learned like later on with my son, to the point where I couldn't do anything about anything anymore because of how old he was. So I was very determined this time around, and thankfully Emerson latched so well, like right away in the hospital. And she has done so amazing for feedings. Like I said, she was already back to her birth weight when she was only 5 days old, which is absolutely incredible. I will say, like, being able to actually breastfeed her has been so amazing, even though it's hard because like during the middle of the night, I'm the only one who can feed her. Unlike with my son, my husband was able to give him bottles too, but it's been so rewarding, and it's like taken so much mental load off of me because I'm not having to worry about a pumping schedule, then feed my baby a bottle, and then I gotta go make sure I wash all the pump parts in the bottles, and just being able to like, oh, she's hungry, let me just feed her real quick. It feels so relieving to be able to do that. But I will say the very like first week or so, the girls hurt so bad, specifically like dealing with cracked nipples, and they were bleeding, and her latch was like kind of painful. Like, I know everybody says that it hurts, and some people say it's not normal for it to hurt or whatever. I think like newborns are learning it, and we're learning it. Even though it's natural, it may not always come naturally, and it takes a little bit of learning. But now her latch, like, it does not hurt at all. She latches so amazing. Everything's all healed up. Things that helped me the most were this organic nipple butter. This is literally like from the store, I think from Target. And then Silverettes. I got those from Amazon, and I had them with my son, so I just reused them. They were so amazing and helped a lot with the healing process. So I highly recommend getting both of those if you are looking to also breastfeed. And something else that has made this journey so much easier was a Boppy, and Boppy made like a new version of their pillow, so it's now like kind of more this rectangular shape rather than like before it was kind of like a curve, like a half circle more. I used the My Breast Friend pillow with my son, and obviously, I mean, I only like was feeding him for the first couple of days, but it just felt so difficult to use, and I hated how you had to like put it on your back and like buckle things or Velcro things, and then it felt so loud, like it would wake him up if he fell asleep while I was feeding him, and it just felt like too flat for me, and I just wasn't able to figure out like positioning that felt comfortable. But the new version of the Boppy, this is not sponsored, but it is so amazing, and I genuinely love it so much. There's been several times where I've been able to feed her without it, but having that extra support, especially like for my arms, like when you're feeding a baby for like 30 minutes or so, amazing. Absolutely love it and highly recommend it. Then in terms of pumping, I'm only pumping when I'm super engorged, which the first couple of days felt so frequently because like your milk comes in and it comes in like crazy, but also like baby's stomach is still so small, so she wasn't eating a lot. So I think at this point I'm about like 70 to 80 ounces of frozen milk. I really need to like go and calculate things because I just keep throwing stuff in the freezer and I'm not really tracking it. And these are some videos that I've also shared on my short form content as well. Whenever I pump when I'm engorged, I make sure I feed her first, and then I only pump until the engorgement goes away. So I still leave my breast full because I don't want my body to think that I'm like taking too much away, so then it needs to make a whole lot more. I'm literally just pumping so that I can like feel some kind of relief. So I'm just very hopeful that this time around I'm going to have a good supply established. I really don't want to pump often. Again, I only want to pump when I'm engorged. I think eventually I am going to introduce a bottle to her, like maybe when she's closer to like 6 or so weeks, only so that if I ever need a break, I can have a break, whether that's like me getting out of the house or me sleeping or something like that. So I really don't want to move to bottles because I've been enjoying breastfeeding her, but I want to have the ability to fall back on that if I need to. And the last topic I wanted to hit on is being on my unpaid maternity leave. I know a lot of you have started following me from my short form content where I'm talking about paying for my maternity leave through content creation. And your support and engagement on those videos is absolutely blowing me away. I'm currently only monetized on TikTok, and so I do earn some money on those videos, although they do so much better here on YouTube. I'm not monetized on here yet, so I don't actually earn anything from my long form or short form content, but it is my goal to eventually get monetized, and I'm hoping that I'll make some kind of money here on YouTube. But in terms of my maternity leave, things are going super well, and I'm so grateful to have this time off. And my maternity leave is only unpaid because I'm a part-time employee. I knew that it was going to be unpaid, so it wasn't a shock to me. The only thing that I'm trying to get paid for right now is our labor and delivery bills. So any money that I earned from content creation is going to go towards paying for those bills, which should be about like $3,000 or so if I'm understanding our insurance correctly. We were already prepared for paying for like our monthly expenses and things like that, and my husband's income is able to cover our rent and our bills and groceries and all that kind of stuff. So I'm truly just trying to pay for these bills that could potentially cost a lot of money. We've not gotten them in the mail yet, so we shall see whenever they arrive. But that is all that I had to say in this very long-winded postpartum update chit chat video. If you like this type of video, let me know, because I really kind of like just like the chit chatty, sharing all the different things. Like those are the types of videos I personally watch on YouTube all the time. I'm also going to be working on a Q&A episode. I made a post on my YouTube page that you can go and look at and leave a comment there of any questions you have, or you can leave a comment down below on this video and I'll be sure to include that question in my Q&A video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and supporting me on this journey so that I can be monetized here on YouTube and financially support my family. And YouTube thinks that you should check out one of these two videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.